How one betrayal ended a 1,000-year dynasty. He sold his soul for gold and ended a 1,000-year empire. Every moment you're about to see is drawn from verified Byzantine chronicles, Crusader letters, and eyewitness records preserved for nearly 9 centuries. What you're about to see will make you question faith itself, because this time, it wasn't the enemy that destroyed an empire, it was its own savior. Watch to the end to discover how one promise of gold and one act of betrayal brought down the mightiest empire in Christendom. They called it the Empire of God. A fortress that had stood for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, this city ruled the world, rich, holy, and untouchable. It survived crusades, invasions, plagues, and betrayal. But when the end came, it didn't come from the outside. It came from within. One prince made a deal that sold his empire's soul. He thought he was reclaiming a throne. Instead, he unleashed hell. What you are about to see will make you question faith itself. The end of this story will shock you to the core. The year is 1203. They called it Nova Roma, the New Rome, the heart of Christianity. The bridge between Europe and Asia. For centuries, Constantinople was untouchable, defended by triple walls, golden relics, and a navy that ruled the seas. But by the late 12th century, its light was fading. History doesn't fall in a day, it rots in silence. While kings grew comfortable, their enemies grew hungry. Greedy emperors, civil wars, and empty coffers left the empire weak. The once mighty Byzantine Empire had become a ghost of its former glory. Constantinople, the jewel of Christianity, ruled by Emperor Alexios III, a cowardly tyrant who seized power by betraying his own brother. That brother, Isaac II, was blinded, imprisoned, and left to rot in a cell deep beneath the palace. But Isaac had a son, Alexios a prince exiled, powerless, but hungry and desperate for revenge. He was only 21, the rightful heir with no army, no gold, and no allies, until he turned west to the Crusaders, men of God, soldiers of Christ, but also mercenaries in armor. The Fourth Crusade was supposed to march on Jerusalem, but Alexios offered them something better. He promised the impossible: 200,000 silver marks in payment, troops for their holy war, and the unity of the Christian world with eternal favor from the Orthodox Church. All they had to do was overthrow his uncle. "Help me take back my city," he said, "and Constantinople will be yours." Greed met faith, and faith gave in. The Crusaders agreed. They were not holy knights. They were mercenaries in armor, hungry for fortune and absolution. They weren't the noble knights of legend. They were debt-ridden mercenaries, hungry for absolution and gold. The kind of men who'd kill for a prayer and a coin. 20,000 soldiers turned their ships not toward the Holy Land, but toward the richest city in the world. For the first time in history, Christians would attack Christians, all for gold and power. "God wills it," they cried, but behind those words was a contract, and the cross became a currency. When the gates opened, the people of Constantinople did not cheer. They watched in silence as foreign armies entered the city their ancestors had built. Alexios was crowned emperor, but his people despised him. He had sold his empire's soul for power, and the bill came due fast. Alexios III fled without a fight. The city opened its gates to Alexios IV, the exiled prince now crowned emperor. The deal was complete, but promises cost more than gold. What no one knew that night was that this deal would end not just a war, but a world. Alexios owed the Crusaders 200,000 silver marks, a fortune beyond imagining. The treasury was empty. The citizens refused to pay, so he taxed the churches, melted icons, looted tombs, and the people rose up. Why? The people saw him not as a savior, but a puppet of foreigners. He had raised taxes, melted church icons, and stripped gold from sacred altars to pay the Crusaders. Every coin he gave them tore his empire apart. He wasn't evil, he was drowning, in debt, in fear, in destiny. Every ruler believes they can control the fire. Alexios didn't realize he was standing in it. Within months, the streets of Constantinople burned, and Alexios IV, once the hero, became the traitor. In the shadows, another man waited, Alexios Doukas, known as Mortsouflos, a general, a patriot, a traitor. In 1204, his own soldiers stormed the palace under the command of Mortsouflos. He seized the throne, strangled Alexios IV in his cell, and declared himself emperor. The Crusaders had been betrayed, and now they wanted revenge. On April 13th, 1204, they attacked the city they had come to save. When the Crusaders realized the gold was gone, their faith vanished with it. What followed was not a siege, but a reckoning. It was hell unleashed on earth. The Crusaders wanted their gold, and when they didn't get it, they took it by force. They broke into the city, and for 3 days, the greatest city in Christendom was looted and thousands slaughtered. Relics of saints were stolen, women violated on church altars, churches were burned, nuns violated, even the priests looted what they couldn't protect. Gold melted into armor, Bibles turned into shields. God had left the city. The Hagia Sophia, once the largest cathedral in the world, was turned into a stable. Families who had lived for generations under the shadow of the Hagia Sophia watched their city burn from the same windows where they once prayed. The greatest city in Christendom was destroyed. They melted down the empire's crown jewels, divided its lands, and crowned a puppet emperor. The Byzantine Empire, the Second Rome, was gone, and all it took was one betrayal. One promise of gold ended 1,000 years of glory. In that moment, the line between faith and greed vanished, and so did 1,000 years of history. The Byzantine Empire never recovered. Its golden age died that night, and 250 years later, the Ottomans would finish what Alexios began. The fall of Constantinople in 1204 wasn't just the end of an empire, it was the beginning of a new world. It showed how power doesn't die with swords, it dies with promises. History remembers warriors and kings, but the ones who destroy empires rarely swing a sword. They sign a deal. Alexios IV didn't lose because of weakness. He lost because he mistook desperation for strategy. He traded faith for fortune and bought a crown with betrayal. Today, empires don't build walls, they build brands. CEOs replace kings, contracts replace crowns. But the warning remains the same. Power is never stolen, it's traded. Every empire has an Alexios. Every age has a deal that seems too good to refuse. In this case, the Crusaders claimed they fought for God. The emperor claimed he fought for justice, but both fought for gold. And every promise of gold leaves behind ashes. The walls still stand, the towers still echo, but every stone whispers the same warning. Empires are not destroyed by enemies, they are destroyed by deals. And in 1453, another betrayal would finish what this one began. History repeats itself. Subscribe before it does again. An empire built on faith, destroyed by a contract. If you want more true stories where gold, power, and belief decided the fate of civilizations, like this video, subscribe and open the next gate, and witness the next empire fall. In 1453, another betrayal would finish what this one began. Click on the link below